PG was telling me that Stripe's documentation is a thing of beauty, and that Stripe really was always developed for programmers. So it appeals to the people within companies who are writing software, not a CTO who needs to check off the boxes. And he said, ask them, like a good API is well designed, reliable, and well documented. And Stripe is very famous for being fabulously documented. Did you do this to set yourselves apart, or were you building something that you yourself knew you'd want?
Or both?
I think this is one of these things that has proven very important for the company. That was, I don't know, in the early days, Patrick, would you call it like an aesthetic matter or just an intuitive kind of strategic decision where, we call the company /dev/payments. And so we, built by developers for developers. I think we even played with kind of some version of
that was on our first homepage.
Exactly. Sure. So we just kind of decided that we were going to go with this. But I think we, again, landed on a deeper point, which is the entire world is bottlenecked on software development ability and capacity. Like, when you go try and subscribe to, I actually went and tried to read something on the Irish Times, and it says you have to log in, and, you try to log in, it says subscription not active. And you're like, okay, how do I fix this? And it's just like a complete dead end. And, presumably someone somewhere in the organization has thought about fixing this, but it's a big project and we'd have to redo the systems and it'd take 2 years or whatever. And so it's not the idea of, we should make it easier for people to subscribe. It's the fact that you can't reliably turn ideas into software well, at organizations of any size. In a startup, it really matters, but in a large company as well. Often there'll be an idea for, we know we should fix the subscription flow so that people stop dropping off, but it'll be 2 years to go and implement it. And so kind of pace of software development really matters. And yet then you might say, well, then of course, the payment companies for whom this is very strategic, they all take the API really seriously, right? And they all care about developer ergonomics. And the state of the art at the time before Stripe was like, oh no, absolutely not. Some business person would make a decision based on, a PowerPoint presentation. And then they would, make the decision. And then afterwards they would drop the 500-page PDF, literally at the time in the case, the PayPal documentation onto the developer's desk and be like, here, you go implement this. But you're kind of ignoring as a factor in the decision how good or bad are the APIs, how fast will we actually be able to implement this? And so again, this was, I think, an intuitive thing for us at the time, but realizing that developer productivity, developer ergonomics really matter as kind of a matter of business strategy for all these companies.
Yeah, I think we had this empathetic intuition that we wanted people like us to have a less miserable time, implementing and managing and maintaining
that's a great way to put it.
Systems. But as John says, the thing that has turned out to be true that we were kind of oblivious to is that for such a large fraction of companies in the world, their ability to wrangle and manage and manipulate software is becoming the fulcrum upon which their own future hinges. And so this question of how enabled developers are is not just this parochial concern of early stage startups or something, but actually this kind of foundational imperative for a very large fraction of the entire economy.
Yeah, but you guys were ahead of the curve back then doing all of this. Don't you agree?
I think we were, but I would attribute a lot of it to basically to luck. I think the fact that we did a good job of making it developer friendly and so on, is downstream of the people we hired and, our own sensibilities and, even being really into Lisp and small talk, that's this kind of orientation towards developer aesthetics. Like, it was there for a long time. So kind of, I think we deserve, some kind of, I don't want to denigrate the efforts of people at Stripe early on by saying that was just luck. But the fact that we chose this problem and this orientation in the first place, I think that worked out so well. That part was kind of luck.